Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey David, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, okay. I got a busy night. I got a hockey game to get to, so we're gonna have
Okay,
to go pretty fast here.
okay.
It was a very frustrating game for about
Oh
50
man.
minutes, and then the Oilers came alive in the last 10 minutes. Came back. Got a goal, 2-1 loss. They could have tied it up in the last seconds, but Leon Draisaitl hit the post. Kind of a thrilling last sequence of events, but not the payoff that Oilers fans were hoping for. So this is our two good things, two bad things, and two numbers podcast. Bruce, what's your good thing?
Well, my good thing is the goaltending in this game. I'm going to tip my hat at both netminders. But from an Oilers perspective, Mikko Koskinen played well enough to steal one, if not 2 points in this game, facing 44 shots, uh, stopping 42 of them. I think you had, 16 grade A scoring chances for St. Louis. Uh, so
16 for St. Louis, 14 for the
So
Oilers.
that's a lot of scoring chances for a game
It's
with three goals in
huge.
it. And
Yeah,
80 shots, 44-36 is a lot of shots for a game with three goals in it. And the only reason that Koskinen didn't steal a point or two for Edmonton was that Jake Allen had a very good game for St. Louis, and he made a number of fine stops. And got a little bit help from his metal friends there down the stretch. But Oilers did make it exciting, and the only reason they had a hope in hell was Mikko Koskinen again. And it's very unfortunate that, in a sense, to waste that effort. Although I think that's the kind of game that I hate to even mention moral victories, but it's the kind of game that lifts the team that'll bring them up for the next game. Let's just leave
maybe.
it there. Let's
Yeah,
just yeah,
the
we'll see. But it's the
the
sort of game that can do that.
Koskinen, the 3 meter man stood 10 feet tall tonight, Bruce.
Oh, did he ever?
He was,
That is just about 3 meters too, isn't it?
isn't it? He is so big on his knees,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just really unable to beat him upstairs. They're
Mm-hmm.
generally speaking, they're beating him on double A or triple A chances. Like, so if a double A chance is 30 to 40%, and a triple A chance is a shot that's 40% and above, he's getting most of those 25 percenters, all the grade A ones, but they got to get a really really good chance. And you know that Jake Allen, the hottest goalie in the NHL since early November, has been Jake Allen, and the least hot goalie has been Mike Smith. So Koskinen got the start. It's the first time this year that Dave Tippett has started goalie 3 times in a row when injury hasn't been a factor. And Koskinen sure gave the Oilers a chance to win this game. It was St. Louis was so dominant this game, Bruce. They just were
For large
throwing
segments of it, yeah,
they were just
absolutely.
throwing pucks at the net all over the Oilers, and the Oilers were just barely hanging in, mainly due to Koskinen and some, I think, a goal post or two of the that went in Koskinen's favor earlier in the game as well. At least one Brower's shot, and maybe another one. Was there a couple off the post? Anyway, yeah, Koskinen is
Hmm.
he's
Well,
looking
he
like the
he
real
made
deal.
he made one save with his blocker where it was a cross ice pass, and they showed the low angle of it. And it looked like the guy had the entire net to shoot at, and he put it just inside the post. And Koskinen somehow snaked his arm all the way across there and got the outside of his blocker. Another sensational blocker save, 2 games in a row. That was one stop that stood out to me, but
Was it David
he had a
Perron on
number.
that 3-on-2? Was that David
Yes,
Perron
that
on the
was
3-on-2?
Perron he robbed. It was, yeah, it was a
Yeah,
well
that's
executed play, and it was a well executed shot, other than he didn't get it right up under the bar. And if he had, that would have gone in. But he didn't leave it on the ice or anything. He got it about a foot and a half, 2 feet off the ice, and Costner somehow got an appendage on it. And
the
it
one that
was,
stood out.
sorry.
Well, the one that stood out for me for Jake Allen was Nurse's shot.
Yes, absolutely.
He just had
That
it.
was a
Bear
beautiful
really
play.
set him up. That was a very nice play. Okay, my good thing, Bruce, was the Oilers' penalty kill. Um, the 5-on-3 especially was fantastic. You know, you just think it was a minute and a half of 5-on-3.
Yeah.
Odds are a team's going to score, I think, in that situation. And they hardly got a chance. Leon Draisaitl, um, he is a fantastic. I don't think there's anyone I'd rather see on the Oilers for the Edmonton Oilers on a 5-on-3 killing it off than Leon
He's
Draisaitl.
first choice. He's been the first choice all year. It's his third time that he's had an extended 5-on-3 where he was the main go-to man. And complicating the situation much more this time was the fact that two of the Edmonton's top penalty killing defensemen were in the box. So they had to go, was Clefbaum for the dastardly infraction of shooting the puck over the glass. And then Chris Russell went. And now you're down to, Adam Larson and the Nurse Bear tandem. So you've only really got three. You're not going to put out Caleb Jones in a 3-on-5 situation. And those defenders got the job done, and the big man up front, and he nearly scored. Like he stole the puck and he went away. He went down the right hand side, and burst in, and he just couldn't gain quite enough separation to get much on the shot. But 3-on-5 goals are the rarest of the rare. They're rare jewels you get. And on your team, you might get one every 5 years. Along that order of magnitude is how rare a 3-on-5 goal is.
The Oilers really couldn't get a bounce on the attack early on, and like that was just one of those moments where if he just had another half of a foot, he would have broken right in on the goalie. Like, I mean, he did get there, but he just couldn't get in, couldn't bring it to his forehand, for instance, to get off the shot. So right, there's a whole cast of characters. There's Riley Sheahan and Jujhar Khaira, Josh Archibald, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. It's a team effort on the kill, and they're doing a spectacular job as compared to the last few years. The number of cross seam passes the other team's able to execute has gone down. I don't know if you could put a percentage on it, but let's say there was at least one or two per power play. Now there might be, if they have 3 power plays, they might get 1 cross seam pass if they're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
The Oilers have really taken that away. Credit to the coaching staff for figuring out how to do that, and the players themselves for executing that, and Ken Holland for bringing in a couple penalty killers who can also get the job done. So that's really it's giving them a chance. But just like Koskinen is giving them a chance in this game, that also gave them a chance to win, and that's a huge thing for the Oilers. Bruce, bad things.
Yeah. My bad thing with the Oilers tonight has to do with puck management. And specifically, and this was pointed out on the broadcast a couple times, so this won't really be a new thing to the listener probably, but getting the puck over the damn blue line and getting it deep. And time and again, and I give St. Louis credit. I mean, they defended blue line like demons. But there were a number of plays there where the simple play was get it behind the defense and then go battle for it deeper in St. Louis territory, as opposed to trying to beat them along the line. And in the end, both of St. Louis's goals came off of turnovers at their defensive blue line that they were able to turn up ice. One quickly into a goal, and one that took a little bit of time, but they got possession and they never gave it back, and bam, into the net she goes. And they had other issues moving the puck sometimes, out of their own end. But the real bugaboo was entering that St. Louis zone.
They're a much better puck moving team than they were the last few years, like defense to offense. They're just the tactical change of passing the puck up the middle of the ice. Again, you see that 2 or 3 times a game, and it's the difference between a long cycle and alleviating that cycle, getting the puck out. Ethan Bear's made a huge difference because he's probably, there's no Oilers defenseman I'd rather see with the puck on his stick than Ethan Bear in the Oilers zone. So suddenly he's in the lineup every game, and you have that player, and they're a different team because of it. He's elevated Nurse. Oscar Clefbaum's having a really strong year moving the puck. Nurse and Larson are getting a little better at it. They have their moments. Bruce, I'm going to segue off your not getting the puck deep into one of those goals. The sequence of pain on the first goal against was one of the most painful such sequences that we have had in the entire decade of darkness. Like, honestly, there was 3, I counted at least 3 really egregious mental errors on that play. So I believe that group of players have been on the ice for some time and they needed a change. It was evident that they needed a change. All James Neal had to do was get that puck deep. and he had all
Yeah.
kinds of time to do it.
Hmm.
And he just kept skating it into the back of other players, into his own teammate, into the other play. Like he just again and again and again. He it would have been the easiest play in the world for him to get that puck deep. He had
Uh-huh.
all kinds of time, and he just didn't think that was the priority, so that defense pairing could change off. And he in the end he turned it over at the blue line. That was just a really not a veteran play for a veteran player. Following up on that, for some reason, Nurse has to know that Ethan Bear is going to be shifting off, and Darnell Nurse is way up on the play. He's encroaching. He's over the blue line. He's caught way up on ice. So there's another mental error. And the
Where
third
where
one
was
was
Sorry, where was Gagne in all this? Was he just the guy that kind of was in the way of
he was in the way of
Neil?
Neil, and then he kind of lost the battle in the offensive end,
Oh.
fighting for the puck after Neil gave it away.
Hmm.
And then finally, there's Ethan Bear himself, who was really tired. But man, don't. What is this coasting off the ice stuff? What is this where the puck isn't deep yet? It's not going to be. It could be a difficult change. Hustle off the ice. Hustle off this. Now, this wasn't a case like the last game where the guy coming on the ice didn't get on in time. Caleb Jones
Right.
actually got on the ice as quickly as he could,
But
but Bear took forever to get to the bench, and it cost all those. Each one of those mistakes.
yeah.
If one of them hadn't happened,
A
there's no goal against.
cascade of errors. We've seen this all too many times, counting scoring chances against Edmonton Oilers for the last 10 years. Cascading errors, ending up with a cascading goals against average.
Yes. So
Uh,
as sequences of pain goes,
oh,
that really, boy,
here,
was I in a sour mood after that one,
yeah,
Bruce.
me too. Me too. And here's why: it's the second time in a week they've made the exact same blunder. And the other time they lost 6-5, and they had a variety of disastrous goals against. But after that game was over, and you may remember in the subsequent post, I singled out that goal from all the goals in that game as being the one that probably cost them uh, 1.5 standings points. That's the difference between a one goal loss in regulation and a regulation tie, because half the time you're going to get the second point in overtime, right? So in Minnesota, there, that time it was Nurse who was making the change, and it was McDavid turning the puck over inside the blue line, and it was
Clefbaum who
uh,
didn't get on the
and it
ice.
was Clefbaum, we think, who never did get on the ice, and it was. But it was the same situation. It was the second period. It was a long change. It was the Oilers breaking into the other team's end, and the defenseman somehow deciding that he needs to change from the far side of the ice, not even the near side defenseman. Both times the guy came across the ice and left that entire penalty box side wide open. And both times, guess where the play went after the turnover? Bam, down the penalty box side. Was basically a breakaway. It was a 2-on-1 in Minnesota. Tonight, a clear-cut breakaway. But I'm asking you, what in the hell is going on the bench? Why aren't they talking to players? Change, deep, 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 deep. Get it moving. Like, hello, talk to one another.
Yeah.
Darnell and Ethan tell one another if one of you's going off, cover. I mean, there are words that express some of the needs of the situation. And this
Maybe
team,
sometimes they're so.
I don't know
Yeah.
what the hell, but they don't seem to have the communication down. And I largely put it on the bench. The bench needs to be awake. I'm talking about the coaches, and I'm talking about the players. They got to be awake and involved in the game, and either telling Bear, stay, rather than coming off when he did, or at least, letting the forward know that, something's going on behind him to get the puck deep. I mean, it's a simple play. You just have to make the simple play. But if you don't know you can't see 360 degrees around you. You need to hear with your ears, and you need friendly teammates telling you what you need to hear. And I just don't see that happening. And you wind up with these gross blunders. And I mean, arguably, between those two mistakes, it cost him 3 standing points. Because let's assume that otherwise the games go the same way, which is a big assumption. Let's assume the Oilers win one of the two in extra time, which is a reasonable assumption. That's 3 points from two shitty line changes. Hello?
Yeah, it's really
It's
frustrating.
frustrating as hell. I mean, it's
Yeah.
basic, fundamental hockey. Change on the fly and do it right. If I'm the coach of the team, and that's a good thing for them, I'm not. They have an entire bag skate practice consisting of line changes. Hard rush up the ice, hard rush down the ice, hard rush up the ice, get it deep, get off, make your change, and do it over and over and over again about 300 times. I mean,
When they're
seriously,
in
you
one of
got to
those
get that stuff
moments,
right. It's like the pitcher covering first base, right? You do that stuff in spring training.
yeah,
This is friggin' December.
you know,
Get
they
it
got it
right.
when they're in one of those moments where they know they're having a face off in the defensive zone after an icing or something. They just have to have a
Hmm.
code word like to alert the forwards, to remind the forwards,
Exactly.
your whole job here is to get over the red line and pound it deep.
So
That's it.
we
So
the
the defenseman
sucking
can trade
wind
off.
defenders can get the hell off the
That's
ice.
your
Yeah.
only job. That is your
Hmm.
only job,
Yeah.
James Neal, in that moment, and you didn't do it. Okay, your number,
Deep
Bruce.
breath. Oh, okay. We had both our bad things.
Did
We did.
we? What was your?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. I
which?
was just segueing off yours. My number is 11,
Yeah.
and that number 11 is the number of goal posts hit by Leon Draisaitl so far in 2019-20. We haven't even made it to 2020. He's already got 11, including obviously the one I'm referring to is the one he rang off the iron with 18 seconds to go in regulation. That was
Uh,
the tying goal if it hits the post and goes the other way. Leon now has 11 goal posts on the season, according to NHL.com, and that is five more than any other player in the NHL. Jacob Verana and Anthony Beauvillier each have six. And then you're down to guys with five. If you count posts and crossbars, Elias Pettersson has five of one and three of the other for eight. But Leon's got 11. Like all along, I've been saying, geez, Leon hits more posts than anyone, but I didn't realize it was such a margin. Holy moly.
that
So this
was
is
a
a guy
tough
with
one.
21 goals. That's
Yeah.
also got 11 goal posts. That was a real tough one. I mean, that hurts in that situation. Again, it's 1.5 standings points. If that hits the post and goes the other way, they got a point and they're in overtime.
Oh, they came so close in the last minute to
Oh,
score, and there was a couple
shit.
times when the McDavid got the puck in the slot, and he's what a fantastic offensive hockey player he is. My number is though three, and it's a reference to him and others. Nugent Hopkins. Three is the times that centers left their man wide open in the slot for grade A scoring chances, and Nugent Hopkins did it twice. And
Hmm.
McDavid did it on the one goal. Now Cassian was also there. Cassian was actually F1. He was the first guy back, and he kind of all he had to do was block that. All he had to do was stay in the middle of the ice. Actually, Zach Cassian, and all McDavid had to do was stay with his man and take the stick. Um, two plays where Nuge was doing the same thing, which is Nuge is his bad habit. The puck's behind the net, and he's puck watching. Instead of taking the body, he's puck watching, and the puck goes by him, and it goes to the guy in the slot. And he was responsible himself for two grade A chances that way. And Ryan Nugent Hopkins is a veteran player
Yeah.
with a reputation as a defensive player. Well, every time I hear that, I think, well, actually, no, I've seen that mistake too many times from Nugent Hopkins throughout his career, continuing on now to really think of him as a strong defensive player. He's got to stop doing that. He's got to start taking that man in the slot and making that play consistently. Obviously a very bright individual.
Hmm.
He's just puck watching, and this habit of it's driving me
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, he's good at attacking the guys. If the puck is on the guy's stick, he'll go after the stick and the puck. But if the puck hasn't yet arrived on the guy's stick, he needs to sometimes recognize the play and take the stick before the puck gets there. That's the way to defend that. And McDavid, I mean, I mean, we're seeing this too often, David. And I mean, this was a game-winning goal in a 2-1 regulation loss. This one really hurts. And it was a matter of he got beat by some dude named Mackenzie McEachern. Wonder if his teammates call him Mac. Anyway, Mackenzie McEachern. You think like I don't care who the other guy is. He's in the NHL. You got to cover him and you got to respect him and you got to check him as if he's a dangerous opponent. And if you don't, then sometimes what winds up happening is what did happen. And it's a painful reminder. And if it was a one-off, I would be a lot more forgiving of it. But it's the farthest thing from a one-off. It's been happening way, way,
Well,
way too
and
often.
Bruce, and for the last year,
Hmm. Oh,
McDavid,
all of 2019
half of
calendar
last year,
2019
no forward was on the ice for more goals against as a
in
rate
the
than
league.
Connor McDavid in the
In the
league.
league, yeah.
Now that's just he's just out on the ice. It doesn't mean, but when you're the center, you're in the middle of things. You often are responsible for that goal against, and he was responsible for a lot of goals against. It's something he's got to improve. Like He's desperate to win. These players are all
Yeah,
desperate to
well,
win. Well, they can do something about it.
you
He
can
can do
win at
something about
both
it.
ends of the ice, and if you intend to win anything serious, you've got to win at both ends of the ice. It's just the
Yeah.
only way to be done.
And here's my mandatory Ken Dryden book reference for the night.
Okay, go
He
for it.
was talking about the Boston Bruins and about
Yeah.
how there's these teams like the Bruins that are just so unbelievably entertaining. Boston Bruins of the 60s and 70s,
Right.
Esposito, or just
Hmm.
how entertaining they are. But you could count on them, he said. You could count on them to make the big air. Chicago Blackhawks of the 1960s were the same thing, he said. These
Yep.
teams with all of this talent, but
Mhm.
they didn't take care of the details. The details that you wrote a post on this. The details is a big word in hockey right now, like taking care of the
Yeah.
details. This is the detail that the Oilers centers have got to. They've got to before the game. They have to
Hmm.
visualize themselves shoulder checking, finding that man, taking his stick, backing up, covering him so he can't get off that shot. And they got to think every time there's a that play where the guy in the corner and the defenseman there, and I just want to go help that. I want to go get that puck. No, I've got to back away and take that other player. I've got to take the danger man, the guy who's lurking in the background, who is actually the one who's the biggest threat to score a goal. Not the guy with the puck in the corner or behind the
Uh-huh.
net passing it, but the guy in the slot. That is the center's job in that situation. And they've got to start making that play. And
And you
until
got
they
to.
do, Bruce,
Hmm.
they're not gonna turn this around in Edmonton.
You got, yeah, and if the guy is a few feet in front of you, rather than watch the pass and shot from a safe distance, you got to bust your ass and get on him.
Yeah. To
None
give
of the
Drew
sort of
Remenda,
gliding with that hand, two hands on the stick, 3 feet away from the guy that's about to put the puck in the net. That
yeah.
really doesn't help a whole lot.
And to give Drew Remenda credit, he
Hmm.
called it out. You know, a
He
lot
did.
of announcers wouldn't. And now
Hmm.
McDavid is actually getting a lot of criticism right now, and
Well,
like
watch the
deservedly
games. I
so.
mean, yeah,
Yeah,
this
but
is
you
a
give Drew
regular
credit.
event, David.
You know, usually, often that kind of thing won't be called out by the hometown announcer. And
Hmm.
Drew did. He pointed it out in fair terms. And I think we're making a fair criticism here. It's not like we don't like this player. We love this player. We think he's a
Yeah,
fantastic player.
absolutely,
I also
absolutely,
think he's actually has the makings of a fantastic defensive player because there's
absolutely. He just
nobody.
needs to apply
He
that
just needs
skill
to,
everywhere on the
when he
ice.
doesn't have the puck, just be aware of his man and not puck watch and just figure out who his man is and cover that guy so he can't get a pass. Simple as that, really.
I mean, steal it off. I mean, McDavid is as good as anyone around at taking the puck off the other guy, but it's pretty hard to take it off him if you're, 3 feet behind him. Like you got to want it just as bad 200 feet from the other team's net as 20 feet from the other team's net. You got to want it all over the ice, and it's a truism,
Well, he
but
was
it's
up against
true.
Mac Mac.
He was up against Mac. You're right. He was up against Ryan O'Reilly a hell of a lot, but ironically, it was Mac who wound up killing the Oilers with the game winner.
Rye
Um,
Rye and Mac Mac. All right,
yeah.
Bruce, let's leave it there. Thanks for talking tonight.
All right. Good luck. You're playing a game tonight.
Yeah,
Good
I
luck.
got a
Good
game.
luck.
Thank
Good
you,
luck.
Bruce.
Let us know how it goes, and we'll talk to everyone on Friday night. Thanks for listening, everyone.
It will go very, very slow, at least when I'm on the ice, I can assure you. All right. Thanks, Bruce. And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.